Yes guys, what's going on, and welcome back to another brand new weekly review of the fixtures we had 2 weeks ago. Some proper shocks, you could say, like I did mention in the video leading into this one, that there was definitely some shocks on the cards that I didn't necessarily see coming, but also predicted in, you could say, hindsight as such, in like almost seeing the future type thing. Starting with Southampton Man United, obviously it was the early kick-off on Saturday the 31st of September. That was, I don't know, it went, I think it, like watching it back on Match of the Day, it was definitely a game where it was probably a fair result. I genuinely based it a fair result on the whole. I've obviously seen just the highlights. We didn't see obviously the whole of the game, but obviously the highlights based the kind of ebb and flow of the game, and obviously you could see by the chances created by one side or the other, that it was, the way, just basically the way it went. So 1-1 was probably a fair result from the way I based it, and obviously the way the chances I saw that were created, which was fairly balanced, you know. So if you have any thoughts, obviously leave them down in the section below, obviously. And we'll move on to the next one, which is Chelsea against Sheffield United. Again, you could say, I mean, definitely when I heard the scoreline, I definitely was shocked as such to, and I mean no disrespect at all to Sheffield United fans, but when I saw this scoreline, I don't know, it kind of, you know, it sparked a little bit, I don't know, just more curiosity. So I was actually intrigued to sort of see how the game panned out, and obviously watched Match of the Day, as I mentioned, and watched all of the games. So I can base obviously what I'm about to say roughly on facts basically. But that game, scoreline wise, I think I actually did predict 2-2 in the video. I did like the predicting this weekend. By this weekend I mean 2 weeks ago. But I did predict the 2-2. I think I said, you know, Desmond, and I think that was a fair result. So there was, it's just, I think Chelsea could struggle this year. So, and I think that's what I did mention, my kind of theory in why I did say 2-2. But moving on, obviously, you know, try and keep these thick and fast. Crystal Palace, Aston Villa. Palace obviously high off the exploits of beating Manchester United at Old Trafford. So that was, you know, I think that is definitely what held them in good stead regarding getting the win against Aston Villa. They, you know, obviously beat them 1-0, and to be fair, not a result that, I don't know, was shocking as such. I know, like I did say, I think I titled the video last week, or for that week, from some shocks in store, something like that, or something along the lines of that. But I think that definitely wasn't a shock, being as they were the home team, and obviously that, you know, they had the win against Man United fresh, you know, in their minds, and obviously the confidence was higher. So I didn't see that as so much of a shock. Moving on, again, I don't think there was much, wasn't much shock really in the remaining fixtures, to be fair. Bournemouth, you know, coming up against a Leicester side at home, against, you know, at Leicester at the King Power Stadium. The scoreline, I don't think at first seeing the scoreline 3-1, you think, I must have flattered them 100%. But to be fair, I don't think that did. I don't think it was a flattering scoreline, and I think Leicester obviously were the deserved winners. You score 3 at home, you do deserve to win generally, but obviously, you know, the only maybe cause for concern would be the fact that they let in 1, but you know, they got the 3 points, so it's not it's not about, you know, looking for so much like as concern at the moment. Again, you could probably say the same with this next game, and this next game obviously being Man City against Brighton. I think that was 4-0 scoreline. I actually predicted, I know for a fact I predicted that last week. I say last week, I keep saying last week because it's, you know, I'm not used to having the 2-week international break in between. And yeah, England, I mean, obviously I've got to shout out to England, you know, obviously getting the, they struggled in that final game against Kosovo, but obviously, we won't mention Harry Kane missing the penalty. Oh, well, obviously have mentioned it already, but never mind. I didn't mean to, honestly. But the 4-0 scoreline for Man City, again, I did predict it, so I thought it was going to happen in my head and my heart, that I thought that there's not many teams that are going to be good enough to stand toe to toe to City, and I think they, much like last year when Liverpool came so close to snatching the title, and subsequently would have gone on to do the double as such, obviously with the Champions League win as well. But scoreline I predicted, so it was obviously what I was thinking, and I think along with many others, I think it's not flattering at all with what I've just said. Not many teams are going to be able to stand toe to toe with Manchester City. Next one is Newcastle playing at home against Watford, and I think based on the two teams, obviously Newcastle and Watford, I think the fact it ended 1-1 was a fair result. I saw it, like I said, and I was able to just see obviously what match that they would show. They would only show the highlights, so you can base it off of the ebb and flow of the game, and obviously who created the chances, who created more chances, and whose goalkeeper was more active, and if there was a goalkeeper that was more active in general, basically, because obviously some of these games can be played just on the pitch and in sort of the midfield areas and in the key areas of on the pitch. To be fair, 1-1, yeah, that was a fair scoreline. Moving on, we had a game of the weekend contender, which I thought would have been West Ham vs Norwich City. The scoreline was 2-0 to West Ham, and I thought that was fair based on what I saw. It was a fair result. I can't watch all these games, so I can only watch the match of the day highlights package, whatever they choose to put in there, and obviously what's all the highlights of the games. That was a fair result because obviously if you scored 2 at home without reply, generally you're the team that are obviously on the attack and the more offensive of the two. So I thought based upon that and based upon what I saw, that was a fair result. I don't and by the, when I say fair result, I mean no disrespect to any of the teams that have perhaps drawn or lost, and I say fair result meaning it was a fair result just based upon what I saw. So that's kind of the long and short of it. This game was definitely not a shock. I don't think I keep using, I don't want to sound like a broken record, keep using the word shock, but it definitely wasn't a shock. Burnley, very good team, and they were last year and have been solid in the Premier League. Been hard to break down, but obviously this Liverpool side, there's again, much like I said with Manchester City, there's not going to be too many teams that will be able to stand toe to toe with said teams, and this was proven in this game because Liverpool obviously ran out easy winners, 3-0 away from home. So you'd say that was obviously to say an easy game for Liverpool. That was definitely proved right. So, and they didn't seem to have much. Burnley didn't seem to have much to trouble Liverpool from what I saw. Again in the highlights, it seemed to be all Liverpool. So, and I expect that to be a theme throughout Liverpool's games this year because they look more. You might shoot me down for this saying it, and obviously I know because we don't want them to necessarily win the league, but they look more like league champions than City do at the moment. They just seem more consistent. They seem the team is gelling a lot more, and you could say the team is gelling a lot more because they've the different style in manager, but also the sort of the same type of play and the same kind of personnel that they've got. They've got very similar players, both teams at the top, so that might be the reason why they are in the respective positions that they are. But they didn't have too much to deal with regards to Burnley. Therefore, being able to sweep them aside with a clean 3-0. Again, heading into the Super Sunday on obviously Sunday, it was another game of the weekend contender, which I think obviously, like I mentioned, with West Ham against United, West Ham against Norwich. That was, for me, when I was looking down the fixture list, I thought these two teams or you could say now 4 teams, because obviously I'm going to mention Everton and Wolves. They produced a 5-goal thriller, Everton taking it 3-2, and to be fair, if you, like the old saying in football, if you score 3 goals at home, you deserve to win. And to be fair, I'd go along with that. But the only thing is, Wolves could probably consider themselves. I know it's going to sound strange, but scoring 2 goals away from home, you'd think, well, we're in with a good shot of winning. But the thing is, obviously, if you concede 3, I know it's stating the obvious before you start shouting at me through your computer screens. It's, I don't know, it just seemed like they had a lot more to offer than Wolves, even though I do see Wolves taking a lot of points off of teams that they may not have fought. Obviously they can certainly mix it with the top 6, and I see them doing that as the season progresses, and obviously as they get more and more stronger as a team, as they start to gel and then and become more confident, and so 3-2, I think you could, it was a flattering scoreline, but again, Everton looked the most likely to get the win, therefore them being able to get the win was not a shock as such. Might have been a shock to some, but obviously let me your opinions, comments and suggestions as well. Also, I'm taking suggestions for what you guys want to see. Kind of how long you want these videos to be and how short you want these videos to be. Do you want them just to be like bite-sized little portions and whatever? Last game, last by no means least, obviously the North London derby. We see it was, to be fair, it went down to form for most of it, though I did say in my match preview before, if you haven't watched it, go and watch it, come back and watch this video, or finish and watch this video and go and watch that. Obviously, show all your videos some love, and show the channel some love. If you're new, obviously, subscribe, like the video, turn your notifications on. That'd be like there. But this game, being 2-0 down, almost going into half time 2-0 down, that's not ideal at all, not even in the slightest, but we obviously pulled one back, and that proved to be key going into the second half. That was it was a real tense game, as most North London derbies are. They were, it was just it was one of them. I don't know, I've done the North London derby once, and to say if I was given the chance again, I definitely would do it. It was definitely a enlightening experience, and it was obviously a tough experience, but again, this game it was a fair result. To be fair, it was a game based upon, it was a game of 2 halves. It was a fair result as to ending 2-2, so there's not much else I can say. If you want me to do a kind of fuller review of the game, even though the Premier League resumes this weekend, I can still do a fuller review by the time this goes up, which will be tonight, so it'll be Thursday evening. I'm aiming to get both videos out. I say both videos because I'm going to be doing a predicting the following week, basically following week being this coming week, weekend. Obviously the weekend show is going to be back, and I'm not going to be covering any of the England games, so if there's any more international breaks, not unless you guys want to see it. That's going to be it for the video. Please turn your notifications on, which would be like the video or like the video wherever, and your boy's out here. I'll speak to you guys in a bit. Bye.